Commission meeting of February the 7th. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Seeger.
Here.
Truxillo.
Here.
Rest.
Here.
McInnes. Doherty.
Here.
Fitzmaurice.
Here.
Crawford.
Here.
Concoso.
Here.
Smale.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Announcements. Please silence all phones and electronic devices. If you disagree with the decision this commission makes, you have the right to appeal it to the council. Appeal cards are on the railing over here to my right. Speaker cards, if you wish to speak on any item, you will need to fill out a speaker card, and they're on the railing over here to my right. Public speaking, 10 minutes each side and 5 minutes for rebuttal. After your case is heard, we're going to ask that you please exit the building. Please rise for the invocation by Commissioner Seeger and the pledge by Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
Our gracious Heavenly Father, grand architect of the universe, we thank you for allowing us to be here this evening to serve the public good of St. Tammany Parish. We ask that you remember the employees and first responders of our parish as they go about their daily work. Please guide them and protect them in all their doings. Heavenly Father, we ask that you envelop this commission with the wisdom, strength, and knowledge to serve this parish to the best of our ability. Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's do it.
All right, in your packet, you had the minutes from last month's meeting. Commissioner Crawford.
Motion to accept the minutes.
Motion by Commissioner Crawford to accept. Commissioner Smale.
Second that motion.
Second by Commissioner Smale. Any discussion? Please vote.
Mr. Rest. Two, four. The motion,
It's a procedural motion,
So
so
it's okay to
it
have-
passes with
okay.
a majority.
it carries. The
Okay.
motion to approve carries.
All right.
All right, let's see.
Before we get into the postponing of cases, I'd like to introduce a new member of the commission. He won't be able to take part in discussion or voting tonight. We're still trying to get all the paperwork done, if you can imagine that. His name is Carlos Hernandez. He's down here on the very end. He took Ron Randolph's place. So that's who that gentleman is, and we'll hopefully have another one next week. All right, Helen, we got any postponements?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, would like to request to postpone item number 3 on the agenda on the first page, 2022-3153 ZC. I would like to request to postpone indefinitely.
Okay. Let me go ahead and take care of that one since that's an indefinite one. This is item 3. It's case number 2022-2153-ZC. Existing zoning is HC1 Highway Commercial District. Proposed zoning is HC2 Highway Commercial District. Location, parcel located on the northwest corner of Louisiana Highway 22 and Bell Point Drive, Madisonville, Ward 1, District 1. It's .633 acres. Petitioner is Dwayne and Connie Superno, and owner is Dwayne and Connie Superno. This is Council District 1. They are requesting an indefinite postponement. Commissioner Truxillo.
Indefinitely postpone?
Yes.
Correct.
I'll make a motion.
Make a motion to postpone indefinitely. Commissioner Seeger.
Seconded.
Second by Commissioner Seeger. Please vote.
The motion to postpone indefinitely carries.
Thank you.
On page 2, number 4, 2022-3163 ZC, and we have the request to postpone for 1 month, so until the month of March.
Which one?
3163 ZC.
All right. This is item 4 on the agenda. It's 2022-3163-ZC. Existing zoning is A4, single-family residential district. Proposed zoning is HC2, highway commercial district. Location, parcel located on the north side of Haas Road, the west side of 3rd Street, and the south side of 2nd Street, and the east side of an unopened right-of-way of 4th Street, Slide L. Ward 8, District 14, it's 1.544 acres. Petitioner is Chris Palms. Owner is Palms Seafood LLC, Chris Palms. It's Council District 14. Commissioner Truxillo.
I make a motion to postpone for 1 month.
Motion to postpone for 1 month. Commissioner Crawford.
Second the motion.
Second by Commissioner Crawford. Any further discussion? Please vote.
The motion to postpone for 1 month carries.
Thank you.
And item number 9 on page 2, 2022-3189 ZC. Request to postpone indefinitely.
Indefinitely also?
Yes.
Okay. All right, this is item 9. It's case 2022-3189-ZC. Existing zoning is A3 Suburban District. Proposed zoning is HC2 Highway Commercial District. Location, parcel located on the north side of Shady Lane and east side of Carroll Road, Slide L, Ward 9, District 14. It's .464 acres. The petitioner is Harold Burfick, and the owner is Harold Burfick, Council District 14. Commissioner Truxillo.
Make a motion to postpone indefinitely.
Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Smale.
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Smale. Any further discussion? Please vote.
The motion to postpone indefinitely carries.
Thank you. Anything else, Ellen?
No other requests.
All right. We'll go back to the front of the agenda. This is the zoning change request cases. Item 1, case is 2022-3104-ZC. Existing zoning is A2 Suburban District and NC2 Indoor Retail and Service District. Proposed zoning is NC6 Public, Cultural, and Recreational District. Location, parcel located on the east side of Louisiana Highway 25, south of River Road, Covington, Ward 3, District 2. It's 3.37 acres. The petitioner is Michael Combell, and the owner is Michael Combell, Council District 2. This was postponed from the January 3rd meeting. Staff?
As you stated, it was just postponed from last month, and we had a meeting with the owner. And if I'm not mistaken, he is here to confirm that he would like to amend his request to rezone, the property, the entire property to NC2. If you take a look at the aerial photographs, you'll see that almost half or maybe a little bit more of the property is already zoned NC2. So he's requesting to rezone the entire parcel to NC2, which will be a transition between the NC2 and the NC1 that is to the north of it.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, and you are? Okay. And what have you got to tell us?
I'd like to amend it from NC6 to NC2 if we can do it.
We can do it. Okay. All right, anything else? Let's see if there's anyone in the audience that wishes to speak for or against. This is the first item on the agenda. Anyone in the audience wish to speak either for or against on this? I want to close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
Motion to approve as amended.
Commissioner Smale.
Can you just refresh my memory in what you wanted to do with this property?
Well, I eliminated the restaurant with the beer and the wine. So it's just going to be a little strip center, 8-unit strip center on Highway 25.
Very good. I will second that motion by Mr. Fitzgerald.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please vote.
The motion to approve as amended carries.
Thank you. All right, we go to item 2. Case is 2022-3118-ZC. Existing zoning is A2 Suburban District. Proposed zoning is I1 Industrial District. Location, parcel located on the south side of Louisiana Highway 22, east of Mitcham Road, Mandeville, Ward 1, District 4. It's 2.047 acres. Petitioners Jonathan and Cataline Pizzatola, and the owner is the same. Council District 4, this was postponed from the January 3rd meeting. Staff?
After the January meeting, we had the meeting with the owners here, and we were able to determine that the proposed use as a mechanic shop would fit under the HC2 highway commercial. So if I'm not mistaken, the owner is prepared to amend their request to HC2 highway commercial district.
Okay. Good evening, and you are?
Caitlin Pizzatola.
Okay. And go ahead.
As Ms. Helen said, that is correct. We are officially moving to amend the industrial request and go back to our original plan for HC2, this highway commercial.
Back to,
Also, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to be reducing the size and keeping the rear portion. So they'll be submitting a revised legal description to align with the other other parcels that were recently rezoned to HC2.
Yes, that was done, almost identical to the property, the parcel next to us. I do have that here. I did send it to development. I'm not sure if y'all have it, but that was submitted already. So we did obtain that legal description. So we are not rezoning the entire depth of the property. We're going to stop at that tree line.
okay, and you're wanting to amend this to HC2.
Correct. So no more industrial to HC2,
Okay.
which was our original plan.
All right.
So what's the entire acreage that would be rezoned to HC2?
1.549.
Correct.
1.549? Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
And then the rest of it remains A2?
Correct. Correct. So the residential will not be impeded on it at all.
Okay. All right, let's see if anyone in the audience wishes to speak either for or against on this item. Seeing no one, I'll close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Truxillo.
Mr. Just want to verify that you're stopping before the tree line, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Truxillo to approve as amended, right?
Yes, as amended.
Okay. Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
I'm going to second the motion and congratulate the Pizzatolis on following our advice. Not many people do, but it was a good move.
Okay. Commissioner Seeger.
Canceled. There's a motion and a second. I'm canceling my request to speak.
Okay.
Commissioner Smale.
So I understand that the request to not change the zoning into the tree line, does that mean that you will not touch the tree line, or not really take down the trees? Or?
Correct. We never had any intention to go past the tree line regardless.
Okay.
So we just decided to,
Go
like
with
Kevin said, follow the advice and
the
just leave the
suggestion,
zoning
and
itself.
tree line will stay, and the neighbors will be happy, and everybody's happy, and sounds good. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second as amended. Please vote.
The motion to approve as amended carries.
Okay, the next two cases, item 3 and 4, have been postponed indefinitely, so we go to item 5. Case is 2022-3171-ZC. Existing zoning is A2 Suburban District. Proposed zoning is A2 Suburban District and RO Rural Overlay. Parcel located on the west side of Krista Drive, south of US Highway 190, Slide L, Ward 9, District 11. It is 1.23 acres. The petitioner is Jeffrey and Jacqueline Laporte, and the owner is Jeffrey and Jacqueline Laporte. It's Council District 11. Staff?
The site is currently zoned A2 Suburban District and occupied with an existing stick-built home, and the density of the existing A2 zoning classification calls for strictly residential units with a minimum size requirement of 1 acre and a density of 1 unit per acre. The purpose of the requested rural overlay is to permit agricultural uses. The site is also abutted by residentially zoned property on all sides. However, there is some HC2 highway commercial to the north along 190. If approved to the rural overlay, the applicant will be able to apply for a short-term rental permit with the Department of Development.
Okay. Mr. and Ms. Laporte? Good evening, sir.
Good evening. So the street is Krista Drive. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's off of 190. There's a Liz and Jack's Bar, and it's just about a 500-foot-long dead-end street that dead ends at the Trace, the 30-mile pathway. There's about 7 homes, 4 on our side. They're mostly mobile homes, and then there's 3 on the other side. I built a house on the end of one side, and then I built this house for myself on the other side. Very nice houses. Our house, because property taxes are going up, insurance is going up, things are going up, we're trying to figure out a way to help mitigate some of that. So it had a house and a 2-car garage with an apartment above that when we first built it, and since we've attached them and we're wanting to rent out the apartment above. My mother lives in a mother-in-law suite. We live in the house, and then there's an apartment above. I sent a PowerPoint, but I sent it too late, which would show all of this. I'm sorry about that. But so I just wanted to read something that I had investigated about short-term rentals. It says, short-term rentals like Airbnbs help struggling homeowners and protect a community's character. According to a Cornell University case study, the ability to rent one's property, even in the short term, may be a tremendous financial aid to struggling homeowners. It can help to avoid or at least mitigate instances of blight due to disrepair, distressed sales at below market rate, sales prices, and even foreclosures. The case study concludes that allowing owners to home share can protect a community's character and property values, and that's basically what we're wanting. It's in a great location for tourists to come in because it's right on the Trace. It dead ends right there. You walk out of our house and you're on the Trace, and so it would help us as well to mitigate some of the expenses.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor of this? Anyone wish to speak against? Good evening, Lee.
I have cards.
Can we pass these out over to the commissioners?
Are we gonna, oh, no, we won't have a quorum. We have to recess. So we're going to take a short recess.
Sure.
With the chairman out of the room, we won't have a quorum.
Oh, I understand.
Thank y'all for taking a brief recess. That's the first time that's happened to me in many times. Long time, rather. All right.
Mr. Domingue.
Yeah. Lee, we're going to move forward with your presentation.
I'm Lee Domingue. I live at 34057 Bayou Liberty Road, and I am here to oppose the rezoning of the A2 property to A2 with a rural overlay. And I wanted to acknowledge that this property lies in the critical drainage area as determined by St. Tammany Parish. It's also in a coastal drainage region, which was determined by the Coastal Restoration and Preservation Authority. Those things are important because those two elements allow for low-density development. It allows for A2. It allows for single-family dwellings per acre in residential areas. And to ask for a rural overlay, and please don't be assuaged by the euphemistic sound of that phrase, rural overlay, because make no mistake, when you go from an A2, which is pure residential, to a rural overlay district, it becomes commercial. And I've handed you a list of the permitted uses by St. Tammany Parish for rural overlays, and this came right off the Code of Ordinances. And by the way, this doesn't include all the permitted uses, but just the ones that I thought were most egregious. It does also allow for goat farms, which I didn't think was a major problem, but somebody brought it up. In any case, this is a zoning that would occur on that property, which is 1 1/4 acres roughly, and it would be in perpetuity. And regardless of what the current owner wants and what he plans on doing in terms of a short-term rental arrangement, who is to say what successive owners will do for that property? And once again, bear in mind, this is a pure residential area. How would you like to have any one of these short-term rentals, a bed and breakfast, a dirt hauling equipment storage area, or seasonal seafood and produce peddlers next door? It just doesn't make sense in a residential area. And for that, I just say, this type of spot zoning is something we should always look at with a jaundiced eye, and I encourage you to do so as well. And it brings up the question, which we should all ask ourselves ultimately: why have zoning districts if we allow an acre or an acre and a half property to be spot zoned commercial? It makes no sense. I thank you for listening to me, and I thank you for your time and for your service.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Stevens. Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad there's a change of faces. I'm so glad. I'm very encouraged. Anyway, I wasn't going to speak at all on any of these issues, but the rural overlay is a problem. We know it's been a problem. It's been a problem. It was a problem last year. Now it's a problem this year. I think those who were looking at the UDC were working on getting that remedied. But until that is remedied, I concur that this is a problem. We have this where I live, where as soon as you get a rural overlay, all sorts of things can happen that you don't intend to happen. And yes, it can be commercial. That's when these B&Bs are starting up and they are infiltrating neighborhoods, and it isn't a good thing for us to have. If that's going to be a zoning category, let's give it a zoning category and let people come in and ask for that. But to mix it up and suggest that a rural overlay will do other things like cat farms and chicken farms and all sorts of other things, it's still way, way, way too muddy, and I suggest also that that be denied. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak against? All right, we'll go to rebuttal. Mr. Laporte.
Yeah, it was my understanding that there are many homeowners who do live in areas that would give themselves to tourism or people coming in, like such as being on the Trace, a very short dead-end neighborhood. I thought that this rural overlay was the parish's wisdom in allowing different situations to have a bed and breakfast or a short-term rental. This seems to give itself to it. None of the neighbors are complaining that are on that street. It's a very short street, like I said. It's mostly mobile homes that are there now. This has increased the value of the property. It's a very nice property. I'll be living there still. I didn't think, I mean, I may be confused, but I didn't know that I could start doing chicken farms or other things. If maybe I'm confused about that, but I thought it was only going to allow me to do a short-term rental. But I think it would be very wise and beneficial for the parish, and I thought that was a solution that our wise council came up with to allow people to have vacation rentals with their house to kind of supplement their income. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Delane, you have any rebuttal?
You talking to me?
Yeah, yes. Do you have any rebuttal?
I do. And once again, I understand the homeowners' confusion about what a rural overlay may entail. But the fact is, St. Tammany Parish, in its wisdom, and through the efforts of Steve Stefancic, rest his soul, enacted an ordinance which prevented short-term rentals and or bed and breakfast in pure residential areas. And certainly, A2 is a purely residential area. Thanks.
Okay. Ms. Stevens? Okay. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak in rebuttal on this? I'm going to close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Crawford.
I'll take first shot at this. I'm familiar with this area a little bit, and while the street is small and the street is short, and it may very well be appropriate to help out with the rental, the short-term rental thing is a problem. It was a problem last year. The parish and the council here, we did pass some verbiage that probably needs to be worked on a little bit more. We do have a code rewrite going on right now, which is addressing that issue. So there will be some further clarification coming from it. That being the case, I believe that we really should postpone all of these unless they are in commercial locations and they really fit until that verbiage comes out. I certainly don't have a problem with it. I think the fact that you living there make it, you police the property. You said your mother lives there also, I believe. So that polices the property. Those are the kind that I think would make sense. But in the whole scheme of the timing of the code rewrite and all that, I think we should probably try and hold off on all these. At least that's my feeling on the subject now. I'm not going to make a motion at this point. We've got some other people in the queue, so I'll pass it on to them.
Commissioner Troncoso.
Yes, sir. Mr. Laporte, you said that you live across the street from the property? I live on the property. Is there any other bed and breakfast anywhere in an area around the trace where you live?
You need to come up to the mic, Mr. Laporte.
Not that I'm aware of. We had contacted a company that did say they have many of them inside. Oh, it's a good market, but they did say that it needed to be zoned properly, which is why we went to the parish to see how do we do this. And we were told that we needed to request a rural overlay in order to do it. And so that's why we're trying to do what we are supposed to do. And do
You talked to your neighbor across the street?
Yes, I did. Actually went and talked to him, and he said he didn't have a problem with it. We did talk to our neighbors, and none of them are here or upset about it. We really have increased the value of properties on this street. Most of them are mobile homes, and so we built a nice house. Ours is a 4,000 square foot metal roof, really nice house, and we live on the bottom on one side. My mother lives right next to us, and this is on top of her. We attached it all to make it all one structure now. And so we're trying to do the right thing.
I think just in general statement relative to this, I believe that setting a precedent like this in that area would be very difficult, to Mr. Crawford's point, in looking at this. I make a motion to deny.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Troncoso to deny. Commissioner Smale.
I think it is a bit unfortunate that, Mr. Laporte is caught up in the fact that rural overlay should not include a short-term rental. What about a long-term rental, Mr. Laporte? You considered that? Just a regular rental? Just rent it? Just rent it out? Yeah, that would be allowed, I believe. 30 days. You could rent it out. You wouldn't have to do a short-term rental. The problem is when you put a rural overlay onto the property, it not only it allows for the short-term rental, but it allows for farming, commercial farming businesses, retail greenhouses, roadside farm stands, dirt hauling, dump trucks, tractor trailers, a private landing strip, and a heliport. I mean, it includes a lot of things that the next owner of your property could actually do back there. And that's really the problem with it, is it's included, the rural overlay includes too many other things, and having it there forever is a problem. So I'm going to second the motion to deny.
Okay, we have a second by Commissioner Smale. Commissioner Crawford.
Just a little clarification and a quick question for Ross. Ross, what's our target for the UDC rewrite? Are we targeting the end of the year to have it rolled out, maybe?
No, we're targeting the end of this quarter, first quarter of 2023, to issue for public review and comment.
Okay, but final, where it becomes law?
Well, that depends on public hearings at this commission, the planning commission, the council. So,
or if we're doing the first quarter, it seems like the end of the year could be a possibility for that.
I like that idea before.
Okay.
So, I do have one question possibly for legal. In the event that this is denied, is he prohibited from coming back and asking for, I guess it wouldn't be a rule overlay, but in some other way that may allow for a short-term rental? So he wouldn't be prohibited from applying again if rules change in the future?
Right, he'd be prohibited from applying for a rural overlay within a year of the denial.
Okay.
So, okay, that's all I need to know.
Okay. So what I was trying to clarify there is I think relatively soon we should have the new rules, if you will, or some further rules. In addition, as Commissioner Smale was saying, 30-day rental is not a short-term rental. So if you had somebody, you could certainly rent the place out if you had somebody for a longer term, and you don't need to have a special permit for that, I don't believe. So, you know, if you get denied today, it's not a denial for a long term or forever. It's just until we get some of these rules straightened out. Okay, that's it.
Commissioner Reyes.
I have a question for staff. Of these items that could be used on a rural overlay, I mean, this is just a little over an acre. How many of these items that are listed could even possibly be done on that piece of property? Permitting, do you think most of these would be able to meet permitting requirements in the first place?
I mean, more than likely not, but, you know, if you continue to acquire property and...
Well, the rest of it would have to be rezoned too.
That's correct, but, you know...
Well, I mean, the list looks pretty daunting when you see it.
It does.
But how many of them are really realistically on an acre, 1.2 acres?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to comment on that without having plans in front of me to say, but I would say more than likely it'd be extremely difficult.
I don't think we're going to have a heliport or a private landing strip, are we?
Correct.
Okay. I mean, when you look at the list and then you put it in context, I'm just not so sure it's as dangerous as it looks. Okay? I still have some problems with the short-term rental issues too and moving them into an area, although I tend to agree that kind of a nice little place with the trace right next to it. It doesn't sound that bad. I think there are some alternatives that have been suggested to maybe get through until the UDC is written. Maybe a long-term rental to get you through for the next year might meet your needs for right now, and then by then maybe UDC will be more descriptive and maybe it'll work better for you. So that's all I have.
Okay, Commissioner Smale.
So what is a long-term rental? Anything over 30 days? Is that correct, Helen?
Yes.
So you could do any number of 30-day rentals on that property. And yeah, I understand that an acre is probably not big enough for a heliport or a landing strip, but it's big enough for a few dump trucks and a roadside farm stand or, you know, a number of these other things on the list. And where do we stand? What is going to happen with the rural overlay? Is it going to be taken, is the short-term rental going to be taken out of the rural overlay, Ross, in the rewrite, or do we know?
Yeah, we're still discussing and reviewing.
So we don't really know exactly what the thoughts or ideas are, or you're not ready to tell us or say what they are yet?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. That's all I have. Thank you.
The parish is in litigation, so, you know, my comment's going to be few and far between on this particular topic at this time.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to deny. Any further discussion? Please vote.
The motion to deny carries.
Okay. All right, we go to item 6, and I've been requested to hear items 6 and 7 together and vote separately. Is that correct, Mr. Shane?
Yes, please.
Staff? Oh, yeah, that would help too, wouldn't it? All right, 2022-3172-ZC. Existing zoning is A6, multifamily residential. Proposed zoning is NC4, neighborhood institutional district. Location, parcel located on the north side of Three Rivers Road, west of Bravo Street, Covington, Ward 3, District 5. It's 1.538 acres. Petitioner is Jones Fussell, Jeff Shang. Owner is Bevelo Gas and Electric Lights, LLC, Chris Bevelo, Council District 5. Item 7 is case 2022-3173-ZC. Existing zoning is A3 Suburban District. Proposed zoning is I2 Industrial District. Location, parcel located on the north side of Three Rivers Road, west of Bravo Street, Covington, Ward 3, District 5. It's 1.535 acres. The petitioner is Jones Fussell, Jeff Shane. Owner is Bevelo Gas and Electric Lights, LLC, Chris Bevelo, Council District 5. Staff?
The subject property is comprised of 2 squares in the Alexisville subdivision. Square 85 is the component of the first request. It's currently zoned A6, and the petitioner is trying to rezone to NC4. The purpose of the NC4 district is to provide for the location of uses which provide a service at a neighborhood level but could result in a large influx of customers or clientele at a specific time because of scheduled gatherings. The applicant has indicated on their application that they would like to construct a 4,350 square foot office building on this site. Just north of that site is square 78 of the Alexisville subdivision. That property is currently zoned A3, and a portion of it is zoned HC3 Highway Commercial. The current request is to rezone the I2 Industrial District. The purpose of the I2 Industrial District is to provide for the location of industrial uses of large-scale and highly intense industrial uses along major collectors and arterials in such a fashion and location so as to minimize the conflict with nearby residential uses. The applicant has indicated on their application that the reason for the request is to construct the 2 11,500 square foot production warehouses to be used in conjunction with the adjacent business to the north.
Okay, Mr. Shane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Honorable Commission. Jeff Shane of the Jones Fussell Law Firm at P.O. Box 1810 in Covington. And I have the pleasure of representing Bevelo Gas and Electric Lights, LLC, which is both the owner of this property, also the petitioner, and also has an existing business located immediately adjacent to this property. I think the best way to present to you what we request this evening is you will take a look at the 5 handouts that I've provided you initially, and I've numbered them in the lower right corner. So if you'll take a look at the first drawing, which is the survey showing the 2 squares, and again, to give you some orientation, Three Rivers Road is to the left, or that would be on the south side. Square 85 is currently zoned A6, that's multifamily. We wish to convert or change that zone to NC4, which in our view is a mild commercial zone. We intend to build an office building on that square. And then if you look at square 78 to the right or north side of it, again, that square is currently zoned A3 and HC3. We seek I2 zoning there so that we can place 2 warehouses on that property. If you go to the second drawing, and again labeled 2 in the lower right corner, you'll see our site plan. Hopefully your orientation would be Three Rivers Road and Bravo Street. So on Three Rivers Road, you'll see that we have a total of 60 feet of green space to give a very nice presentation and protect that residential corridor for the people that, of course, live on Three Rivers Road and travel that road daily. You'll see the location of our footprint, which will be the corporate office for Bevelo. It's a 4,350-foot footprint. We envision a two-story building being a total of 8,700 square feet. And this will be the new corporate headquarters for Beverly Gas and Light. And if you're not familiar with the company, I'll give you just a little history that I think lends to the story of why we make this request. The company has a 78-year history, started on the South Shore, has 5 locations there today. It has been on the North Shore since Hurricane Katrina, 20-plus years. Many of you may be familiar with the retail outlet that Beverly has in a strip center on Highway 59, just north of here. And you may be familiar with their warehouse production facility that's actually in existence on Bravo Street. If you look at the site plan and move to the north, you'll see the location of the future production warehouses. You'll see that we've carefully tried to integrate the 2 properties with driveways, adequate parking, and also to provide both convenience and hopefully good aesthetics for those that live in the area. Turning to the 3rd page, you will see a Google overlay and the site plan. It gives you a little more perspective. To your right, you'll see US Highway 190. Again, at the bottom, you'll see 3 Rivers Road. Notice the HC3 commercial that sort of generally in the area. Some of it's developed, as you can see, with properties that and businesses that front 190. Some are undeveloped HC3 property, and of course, you will see some of the NC6 property that is developed. That's the south of our site. In other words, right across the street. You will see that there's some existing apartments there, as well as other commercial properties. If you look at pages 4, 5, and 6, these are elevations that have been prepared by our architect, renderings, to give you an idea of what we intend to create. The office building, again, will be a corporate office, and in my view, has just a really beautiful residential look. We think that this will be a very appropriate building on Bravo Street. And again, with 3 Rivers on the corner, but with the buffer that I discussed earlier. And then if you look at the last 2 drawings, you will see the facade of the production warehouse and how these integrate depending on the views. And you'll notice that we've indicated in the legend below each rendering of the viewpoint for looking at those properties. So at the end of the day, the request is to give what's been a very successful business for many years on the South Shore and North Shore. And I might add that they employ throughout the company about 80 people, 35 of which are employed on the North Shore. It'll give them an opportunity to not only anchor their corporate headquarters here in St. Tammany Parish, but also to create 2 warehouse opportunities. Now, what goes on in those warehouses? Their products essentially are handmade. They are hand-built. They're not mechanized. In fact, we were talking this evening. Mr. Bevel was with me, Chris, and I'm learning more about the business every time I'm with him. But these will be warehouses that will store materials, supplies, but will also have employees within the confines of the building that with their hands make the various products that Beverly sells. And probably some of you are familiar with, I guess, what we'll call outdoor lantern type fixtures and other products that they make and sell throughout our region. And I think that those products are, very complementary to the architecture that many of us like to see in Southeast Louisiana. The point is, I think this is not only a successful business, but one that is making a product that is complementary to the community that we live in. Now, in order to accomplish that, we obviously need to effectuate a zoning change. And how did we go about selecting these zones? Well, we sat down with staff. We told them what our business plan was, and the most benign commercial zone that we could select to build that 2-story, 8,700 square foot corporate office was NC4. And in that case, I would suggest that you could argue it's a significant down zone from the existing A6, which is a multifamily zone in which that property, could be developed in its current status. The parcel north of it, where we intend to put the 2 warehouses, currently has some HC3 and some A3 zoning.
And the best zone that we could come up with for our intended use was I-2. And I would suggest to you that it is complemented by the two buildings that abut this site to the north, which is the current location of the two Beverlo warehouses. So the point is that this type of use and these types of structures are currently on Bravo Street. There are other businesses on Bravo Street that are similar, the most significant one being Gulf Industries. Yeah, Gulf Industries, a little further to the north. Some of these businesses are a little off the beaten path. You may not drive Bravo often, or maybe you've never driven Bravo, but you might be surprised at how well kept, well developed, and these businesses have been there for many, many years. So at the end of the day, my client feels like this is a great opportunity for them to expand their business in the way that I have discussed. To do that, we would appreciate your recommendation of rezoning to both NC4 and I2 respectively for these tracts. At the appropriate time, if any of you have any questions, I'll be glad to address them. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Shane. Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor? Anyone wish to speak against? All right, I'm going to close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Seeger.
I guess this question is for Mr. Bavolo. We have a very nice sketch of the, and I guess my question is, what type of outdoor lighting would you have on these buildings?
Well, my dad gave me a 3% employee
Come
discount.
to the
so I plan on
microphone,
using
please.
that, for the
Come to
office.
the microphone.
Yeah, very generous father of mine.
I move to approve.
Okay. Anything else, Tom?
We have two cases. We are hearing two cases.
That's right. We're hearing the two cases together.
3172,
Okay.
one at a time.
Yes.
Motion to approve?
Is that a motion to approve?
Yes.
3172.
Okay. And we'll go back and finish the discussion on 3173. You have anything on that?
Let's wait and do this vote, and then we'll come back to that.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Crawford.
Just two quick questions. What are the operating hours of the production warehouse? Yeah.
7 to 3:30 is the physical gas building nights at 7 to 3:30.
Okay.
And has been for
Actual production, Monday to Friday, 7 to 3:30.
Monday through Friday, 7 to 3:30. Okay, and the production that goes on in the facility, are we creating any smokestacks or anything? It's all handwork?
The biggest machines we use are drills.
Okay.
Everything's literally hand hammered, so
Okay.
not a lot of big machines.
Okay, it looks like a good project to me, so I'll second the motion.
Okay. Commissioner Fitz, Commissioner Troncoso.
Giving just some input, received input from property owners in the area, and a lot of the questions that I had are answered by the exhibits that you've passed out. Question relative to the buffer area on Three Rivers Road. I think it would be a suggestion, and it was a suggestion by the folks that gave me input, to keep it as natural as it is now. I'm surprised that you turned the building, because this is the first time I'm seeing this. The other question I had in my mind was the facade and the things and the aesthetics relative to that. This is a really nice project, and I think it'll be welcome in the area. So I would hope that you all consider to make that area, that buffer area, as natural as possible.
Sure. I'm sure that we understand the point, and it's well made for good reason. And I'm sure that we'll get a credit for some of the existing trees. I'm sure there's some underbrush that'll probably be cleared, but I'm sure there'll also be some new planting So the idea is we want to try to keep a very nice green look, and we appreciate that comment and certainly won't forget it.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Rest.
Yeah, a couple of questions for staff. I know got both of these in front of us and trying to do the vote on the first one, but I have a question has to do with the second one, and might as well air that out here, if that's okay.
Okay. Well,
what else is allowed under the I-2 industrial?
Under the I-2. The list is pretty much of all indoor manufacturing. There's no outdoor manufacturing that is allowed under the I-2, but it's all office warehouse with indoor manufacturing. And you want a list of...
Can you read some of them off?
Sure, no problem. Book binderies, you have cleaning and dyeing work, dairy product manufacturing, electrical part. There's a long list of tool manufacturing, beverage distilling, food product, glass product manufacturing, paint manufacturing.
Yeah, this kind of, as it's proposed, the plan, I mean, I got no issue with what he wants to actually do with the property. But again, it's a rezone of a piece of property and all of its capabilities for anybody else. And it's right next to a residential zoned area, although there's nothing there. That's A3, I think, or right next to it to the one side. Is that not correct? No, sir. What's next to it to the east or west, rather?
To the west, I think you have A6.
No, not the first piece, the second piece.
Both undeveloped.
I know it's undeveloped, but it's zoned A3
Sure.
next to that industrial piece.
Right.
Is what, I don't have any problem with the NC4 at all. I think that's...
Well, and I would also suggest, and I understand your comment, but maybe you also might want to think about the uses that could be made of the existing HC3.
Well, that whole stretch is HC3 right now.
No, but this track is HC3.
Part of it is, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Freestanding barroom.
Yeah.
No, but I'm only suggesting that I understand that there are some, I'll use the word evils in I-2 that no one would like to see there, but I would also suggest there might be some things in HC3 that no one would like to see there. And I would hope that because of the Bevel development in place on the north side, we have every reason to hope and think that this is just going to be a continuation of their family business there. A little different, I think, that if this were the only square that we were buying, we didn't have a business next door, and although we would be talking to you in good faith, you'd have every reason to wonder, well, I wonder what's going to happen if they never build this. So,
I guess another question is, what activities occur in the piece you have to the north of that right now?
the same activities that we're going to do in the two new buildings.
So why do we have to zone it instead of HC3? Why do we have to zone it I2?
The current building, the use is grandfathered in, if I'm not mistaken, whatever is happening there, but.
So it's basically I2 activity in an HC3 zone because it's grandfathered in.
Yes,
So
sir.
we basically have an I2 there.
Well, that's why I sat down with staff to see if.
No, it's okay. I'm just trying to
No, but I
understand
mean,
what's
whether the
around.
current HC3 would be sufficient for the two new warehouses, and learned that, no, we needed to go to I2.
Okay. So the work that's being done, though, is basically the same work. And so we're not really changing the area there that much. That's important, I think.
Yes, sir. Frankly, we're full.
Okay.
You know,
All
just
right.
need some more square footage.
There's what we're looking for, all the little pieces. Have to dig sometimes to get them out. The elegance of your speaker sometimes doesn't always share all the pieces. Not intentionally that he doesn't, but strategically he doesn't. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Crawford.
One more question, Jeff. What about the 8th Street revocation? Are you doing a revocation on that?
Both streets have already been revoked, and my client already has title to both streets, and assuming we are able to go forward with the zoning, at some point we'll effectuate a re-subdivision.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. No one else in the queue. We have a motion and a second on, 2022-3172-ZC to approve. Any further discussion? Please vote.
The motion to approve carries.
Thank you. All right, we go to 2022-3173-ZC. We've already read that one, right?
Yeah, you read it in before.
Okay. All right. Mr. Shane, you have any further comments on this one?
No, sir.
Okay. Anyone in the public have any comments on 3173? I'm going to close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
Make a motion to approve 2022-3173-ZC.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Fitzmaurice to approve 2022-3173-ZC. Commissioner Truxillo.
And I appreciate the explanation on increased volume. I second the motion.
We have a second on 3173-ZC. Any further discussion? Please vote.
The motion to approve carries.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right, we go to item 8, which is 2022-3187-ZC. Existing zoning is A4 Single Family Residential District. Proposed zoning is A4 Single Family Residential District and MHO Manufactured Housing Overlay. Parcel located on the south side of Chinchas Creek, east of Gum Street, Slidell, Ward 8, District 13. It's .27 acres. The petitioners, Miguel and Anna Martinez, and the owner is the same, Council District 13. Staff?
The subject property is a .27 acre site that's located within the Abney Country Air subdivision and is occupied by a vacant mobile home. A majority of that subdivision is developed with stick-built homes, with some manufactured housing being present on lots throughout the subdivision, which are considered legal non-conforming use. The purpose of the request to the MHO manufactured housing overlay is so that the applicant can either turn on the power of the existing mobile home or to replace the structure with a different mobile home.
Okay. Thank you. Are the Martinez here? I need someone to come to the microphone. So it's my understanding that there's an existing mobile home,
Yes, sir.
but it doesn't have any power to it.
No, it's got the power, electric pole outside with the power meter. So when I bought this property, nobody told me about how long this property's been without power, the mobile home. So when I went to apply for the permit, they told me that I need to rezone. So I didn't understand that point because nobody had mentioned to me before I bought the property. The property is in excellent condition. It's a 16 by 80 mobile home. And it's ready to move in, but with power, you cannot move.
Okay, and your intention is to replace the mobile home?
No, not really. My intention is to use the one that's there because it's in beautiful condition.
Okay, well, I don't see any pictures.
I got some pictures with me.
That's fine, but that's the reason for the question. I don't see any pictures of the existing one, and it could be something very something that nobody would want. Let's put it that way.
I have pictures with me over here, but I don't know if you want that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. All right. Anyone in the audience wish to speak for or against on this? All right, I want to bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Seeger.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Seeger to approve. Commissioner Truxillo.
It's the existing mobile home, correct?
Yes.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Truxillo. Commissioner Snell.
You know, I did drive by there, Chairman. It is in excellent condition, by the way. I don't normally like these mobile home overlays, as everybody probably knows by now, and I hope that they do something about maybe a zoning, put mobile homes in certain zones in the parish. But this property is very clean. The mobile home looks very nice. There are way more stick-built homes than there are, a lot of really new raised homes, but this one looks better than probably half a dozen or more on the street already. Not mobile homes, but properties. So I would tend to go ahead and be for this mobile home overlay because it is a good-looking property and it is already there. That's all I have.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? Please vote.
The motion to approve carries.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
Did you get who?
All right, then we go to page 3, item 10. Case is 2022-3192-ZC. Existing zoning is HC2, Highway Commercial District. Proposed zoning is HC3, Highway Commercial District. Location, parcel located on the east side of Louisiana Highway 1077, north of Faust Road, Covington, Ward 1, District 1. It's 3.303 acres. Petitioners Josh Ballard, owners Jim Ballard, Council District 1. Staff?
The subject property consists of 3.303 acres and is currently undeveloped, located on the east side of Highway 1077. The subject parcel abuts undeveloped commercial property on all sides, zoned either HC1 or HC2 Highway Commercial District. The surrounding area of the property also includes many high-intensity uses, as the site sits near the intersection of 3 major highways, including I-12, 1077, and 1085. There are many industrial and business parks that are located and developed along these corridors, as well as large tracts of undeveloped commercially zoned land. The objective of the request is to allow for the site to be developed with a convenience store/gas station with 12 pumps, which currently exceeds the maximum allowable number of pumps listed under the HC2 Highway Commercial Zoning District. Per the minimum standards for a gas station under the HC2, the greatest number of pumps that can be constructed for the property is 8 units.
All right, thank you. Good evening, and you are?
Good evening, Commission. My name is Liz Lambert, and I am with the law firm of Reese Lemieux, and I am here representing the owner and applicant. As staff stated, the reason for this request is because the property is currently zoned HC2, which allows for 8 pumps. We would request the Commission consider our zoning for HC3 so we can have 12 pumps. As staff said, the property abutting this area is all already HC1 or 2. It is a high-intensity area. This is not a residential area. And as noted in the staff's zoning report, this change is consistent with St. Tammany's Parish's comprehensive plan. And if the Commission has any questions or would like for more information, we do have the applicant here along with representatives of the owner, the engineer, and the contractor.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else in the audience wish to speak in favor? Anyone wish to speak against? All right, I'm going to close it to the public and bring it back to the Commission. Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very familiar with the area, and for the commissioners that aren't, next door is a storage facility, down the road's Hannon High School, there's a Rouse's, there's a bunch of different commercial things, there's an extension coming in from Oshner that's connected to 1077. 1077 is being widened right now. I fully envision that we'll have more requests to maybe upscale the commercial. I don't have a problem with it. I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Fitzmaurice to approve. Commissioner Truxillo.
I know the area very, very well also. It's a very high traffic area. Ingress and egress from this proposed, where you ingress and egressing from?
I'll turn that over to the engineer.
Good evening.
Good
Please
evening.
state your name.
Eddie Powell with Kyle Associates. We're the civil engineer for the project. The plans for the 1077 Connector Road project that's currently under construction have a median down the middle of 1077. So you would only be able to enter this site if you're heading north. We have a right in, right out only. And then if you're heading south, there is a cut through to connect to the connector road, and then you'd be able to turn right in. So it's right in, right out only off of 1077 heading north, and then you'd have to go onto the connector road if you're heading south, and then turn right into the development. Of course, you'd be able to reach it coming from the connector road heading east to west.
When you say the connection road, that's Oshner Extension?
Yeah, I call it the connector, but yeah.
Okay.
Oshner Extension, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Commissioner Seeger.
I second the motion.
Second by Commissioner Seeger.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Troncoso.
Yes, this is a question, so I'm reading this correctly. The Oshner Extension Road, that is in between parcel 1 and parcel 2, lot 1, lot 2? Is that correct?
Yeah, on the survey that's Acadian Land Surveying, there's a lot 1, that's our parcel. Lot 1.1 is what I believe was sold or donated to the parish for the connector road, and then lot 2 is to the
So
north
that's
of
the feeder
connector
road.
Yeah, so we're surrounded by 1077 Falls Road, which is essentially that old service road, and then what will be the connector road when it's complete.
The state has already taken the right-of-way from lot 1?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No other questions?
Okay. All right. Ross?
Is there anybody else in the queue?
No.
I just would like to point out, maybe 2 years ago or so, there was an RPC study, and obviously 1077 is a DOTD facility. So just make sure that when we're developing this site, I would ask that we look at that RPC study. It was stage 0. Eventually, we would hope 1077 is widened to 4 lanes. So, maybe that would increase business, but let's also think about how we wouldn't impact an existing business at that time when the road may be widened. So let's, kind of think about the future and reserving some area if possible. And we appreciate that consideration.
Okay. Commissioner Truxillo.
One more question. Is this a truck stop or just a big gas station?
It's a convenience store gas station.
Okay.
It is not a truck stop.
24 hours?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Yes.
Motion and a
Yes.
second, okay. I'm going to call for the vote. Please vote.
Mr. Truxillo, Mr. Rest? Thank you. The motion to approve carries.
Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Commission.
Okay, thank you. All right, we go to item 11. Case is 2022-3196-ZC. Existing zoning is NC2, Indoor Retail and Service District. Proposed zoning is NC4, Neighborhood Institutional District. Location, parcel located on the west side of Airport Road, north of Redwood Street, Slidell, Ward 9, District 11. It's 2.98 acres. Petitioners Dorsey Development DG, LLC, Ed Voltolino, or Tolina. Owner is Lewis Nunes Jr., Council District 11. Staff?
The subject property is a 2.98 acre, the 2.98 acre property is presently undeveloped and zoned NC2 Indoor Retail and Service District. And the site currently consists of two separate lots of record, being lots 3 and 4. So in order to create a buildable site, the applicant will have to go through the minor re-subdivision process with the Department of Development before any construction could begin. The site currently abuts a daycare facility to the north, an apartment complex to the south, and residentially zoned properties to the east and west. Due to the fact that it does abut residential on two sides, if approved, the applicant will have to comply with increased buffer regulations as well as abide by the setback requirements for the A4 single-family residential district. The purpose of the request is for the site to be developed with a 10,640 square foot retail store. As indicated in the table 2 in your staff report, the site's existing NC2 zoning only allows for a max building size of 5,000 square feet, where the requested NC4 allows for 12,500 square feet.
Okay. Is anyone here representing the petitioner? Good evening. And you are?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Ed Voltolina, representing Dorsey Development, DG LLC. The property in question is on Airport Road, north of I-12. It is currently sandwiched between, the property to the north is NC4, the property to the south is a combination of residential and HC2. And we're just asking to match the zone in the property to the north of the NC4. The purpose was to, as staff stated, is to build a 10,640 square foot store. If you're familiar with that area, there are no food stores or anything north of I-12. So everyone who's north of I-12 in that area has to go south of I-12, deal with some residents are walking across the bridge. We've seen it, and I don't know where they're going, but they're walking across. So this would allow the residents in that north of I-12 to at least have some outlet for food rather than having to go all the way to the south side of I-12. We have had J.V. Burks do an initial traffic study for us, and they told us that they're anticipating our peak hours in the AM would have 8 vehicles enter and 4 vehicles exit, and in the peak hours in the PM, it'd be 25 vehicles enter, 25 vehicles exit. And typically our stores, normally it's people on the road already who are just pulling in to get something. They're not someone making a trip specifically to go to that store. So that just would ask you to consider and we'll answer any questions you may have.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor? Anyone wish to speak against? I've got cards here, so. Yes, ma'am. You are?
I'm Sue Roundtree. I live on the northern part of Airport Road on Royal Drive, and I feel there is no hardship to justify a changing of the zoning from 5,000 square feet to 8,500 square feet. There's no justification for a retail business north of the Target Shopping Center, which is where retail businesses stop, which is a half a mile from this particular property. Our neighborhood community, as long as I've known it, for over 40 years, has just been residential with a few churches, a couple little schools, and a golf course. There's no justification to build a Dollar General in a residential community when there are so many vacant properties just a half a mile away. Lots of vacant properties in the Target Shopping Center, as well as the little strip mall that's right on Airport Road by the IHOP. And if you go across the interstate, there are lots more vacant commercial properties available. I would like to see the traffic study. This particular property is only 0.3 of a mile from our brand-new fire station. And since the T.J. Smith Senior, I call it the Pearl River Parkway, was built, it's bringing a lot of traffic onto Airport Road, a lot of dump trucks, a lot of big trucks, just a lot of traffic. And I don't think that we need more traffic than we already have. Most of these people get out of their houses and they go down the street and they shop at the Walmart. They've got Walmart, all these Ollie's, Walgreens, Dollar Tree. They got everything that they need, half a mile away. I don't think we need to bring it into our residential neighborhood. Thank you.
Okay. Catherine Sellers?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here because my backyard, my husband's, my children, my grandchildren who like to be out in our backyard, faces Airport Road on the property we're here to discuss this evening. Well, I'm on my back patio, whether it's daytime or evening, which I love to be out there. I don't know how many times I've heard the screeching of brakes waiting on something to come through my yard and through my bedroom and kill us. It's constant. I wish you would come to my home so you can understand and experience what I experience. I love my neighborhood. I love my home. I love Airport Road. But this is not what we want. We do not want this. I agree with the lady that spoke previously. We have more than enough empty places where these people can go. The traffic cannot support it. We've got all these new homes going on up there, more traffic. We've got all the 18-wheelers coming up and down as it is. Anyway, I do not want it, and I'm going to stand my ground on it, and I hope you will support me and my family and my neighbours and my grandchildren, that I can allow them to be out and play without saying, no, you can't go out there. So please, please think about the families. Please do it.
Okay.
Please. Please, if you want my number, come to my home so you can experience what I'm experiencing right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Steve Sellers?
Hi, everyone. I second everything that's been said here so far. And we've been there for 30 years at that location. And the first thing they did allowed to happen was to widen the road. Well, when we bought our property, there was all kind of pine trees back there. And we didn't know that the pine trees were going to get eliminated. What they did, because they put in a walking path all the way down to the golf course and back. So there's hit number one. And like they said, there's plenty of places to go and build these, Dollar Generals or whatever they want to put out there. But this is our house, and we've been there for 30 years, and there is enough noise. And it's directly across from my property that we're talking about here, directly across the street. So we're at 107 Pinehurst, so we're directly across from where this is going to be going down, if it goes down. And that's all I got.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Terry Lewis Stevens.
Whew, cleanup. I think what you need to consider is that NC2, which is what it is, are low-intensity uses. 5,000 square feet was chosen for a reason. They wanted to keep it manageable. They wanted to keep them low impact. That's what's around there now. To double, more than double that, and allow 12,500 isn't justified. And also, when you're jumping up to NC4, even those uses are not religious facilities, mosques, daycare centers, nursery schools. Those are not the same category as the Dollar General. They just simply aren't. And I looked up when I was sitting in the back what the hours were for the typical Dollar General in our area, and it's from 8 a.m. until 10 p.m. So that means there's going to be traffic, an influx of traffic. Of course, lighting, but you're just going to have in and out, in and out, in and out in a residential area all night long that isn't that way now. And you wouldn't get that if it was a church. You wouldn't get that if it was a daycare or a low-impact retail facility, a doctor's office, anything else that's along that area. And the suggestion that there's a need for grocery isn't legitimate. If you go south of 12, you have Sam's Club, you have Walmart, you have Aldi's, you've got, there's just all sorts of grocery-related facilities that are retail that's already there, it's already established. And to suggest that people are crossing Airport Road, when I heard that, I got a chill, because Airport Road, A, there's no sidewalks, B, there's no signals for pedestrians to cross, and that would be a hazardous situation to suggest putting in that particular area anyway. So as was said by the first woman who spoke, Sue Roundtree, who lives there, this isn't a good fit. It isn't a hardship. There's no established hardship to more than double the amount of square footage that could go into this predominantly residential area, and I would suggest and request that you deny this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Lee Domain.
Thank you. Lee Domain, 34057 Bayou Liberty Road. I, too, oppose the rezoning of this property from NC2 to NC4. And obviously, as already has been described by staff, it does more than double the capacity for the structure on this property from 5,000 to up to 12,500. And of course, that means more impervious land cover, more cement, cement on grade structure, more parking lot, again, impervious covering for the native land. And all of this property drains directly into Bayou Liberty, which is once again a major concern. In the brief time we have left, let me just point out that there is an abundance of dollar stores in our area in St. Tammany East. Right now we have 16 Dollar Generals, we have 6 Dollar Trees, and 2 Family Dollar stores as well. At what point do we have enough of these? Whether you call them a blight or a malignancy is irrelevant, but we do have enough in eastern St. Tammany, in my opinion. Also, I want to point out that there are 19,000 Dollar Generals in the United States. Louisiana is fortunate enough to have 1,000 of them. Now, you can do the math on the number of states we have in this country, which currently is 50. That means Louisiana has 3 times its allotted share than its neighbors. Also, there are 5,000 Dollar Trees in the United States. And guess which state has the most? No doubt, Louisiana. Anyway, I respectfully request that you deny the rezoning of this property from NC2 to NC4. Thank you again for listening to my concerns.
Thank you, Lee. Kirk Drum? You didn't mark it that you wanted to either for or against, but I think I know which way you're going.
I'm against. Kirk Drum, 112 Pinehurst Court, Slidell, Louisiana. The idea of building a Dollar General on the north side of Interstate 12 is ludicrous. Airport Road, that whole area is nothing but residential. We don't need a Dollar General there when we're just down the road, half a mile down the road, if you cross the I-12, you're at Sam's, you're at Walmart. Go another 2/10 of a mile, you're at Dollar Tree. Go down to the corner, turn right on 190, you're at, everything at Dollar. Then turn right, you're at Dollar Tree. There's an entire mall that has been shut down. Why do you want to go into a residential area and put something which will eventually cause a lot of traffic that we don't need?
Go ahead.
And so let's keep it residential for a change, and let's go with this 2040 plan and try to keep people in their houses instead of trying putting businesses where there shouldn't be any.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you. All right, we will go to the rebuttal now. Do you have 5 minutes each side?
Thank you. Once again, I want to remind everyone that this property is sandwiched between, where it's a lesser zoned property, but sandwiched between two higher zoned properties. And all we're asking for is to get the same zoning as the property to the north. A couple of things that I think were misrepresented. Number one, I didn't say that people crossing Airport Road. I said they were crossing I-12, walking across I-12, not Airport Road. As far as drainage goes, we're required in any development to match the post-development drainage to the pre-development drainage by engineering. Either you have a retention pond or whatever, a piping that chokes back the pipe and only lets it get out to the same rate as it did before the pre-development. The traffic, once again, as I said, traffic's already on the road. Most of our traffic is people who are already on the road coming in and out. And just to point out, we don't have parking lot standards, the big open lights, big lights up there. Everything is on the building and angled down, so it doesn't really flow into anywhere else. In fact, what we've done too, just because we do abut two residential parts, and I forgot, I failed to put these out here earlier. I'm sorry. It's a preliminary drain site plan. If you'd like to see it, we've on the south side of the property, we're keeping 60 feet from the residentially zoned property. So, in addition to our buffer zone and our 8-foot fence, we'd have 60 feet separating the building from the residents. And the rear, we're more than that. And once again, we'd have to have an 8-foot opaque fence and the landscaping buffers around it. We're asking your consideration for this matter, and just to get, all we're asking once again is to have the same zone as the property to the north of us. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, those of you that were against, you wish to speak in rebuttal? Donna? Good evening.
Good evening. Commissioners, my name's Donna McDonald. I live at 35075 Oak Ridge Avenue in Slidell. If he says that he's providing services to the residences around it and that they're walking across I-12 to go to the stores, but he also says in the next breath that it's existing traffic that's going in and out. So if it's existing traffic that's going in and out or on the roads already, they have access to drive across I-12. Why are they walking across I-12? That's my first question. And my second question is that if we're supposed to be increasing the quality of life in St. Tammany Parish, why are we constantly adding to the fast food mentality with high fat, high salt, more processed? Why aren't we doing more of the things that provide fresh food and fresh vegetables to the area? So that would be my two questions, that I don't think that it's necessary. I think the petitioner has basically given you, if they're driving past, why are they walking past?
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak in rebuttal? Yes, ma'am.
I just asked confirmation of this because this was just raised. The NC4 that is north of this particular requested rezoning site is a daycare. It's a daycare, low impact. So the intent of the 2040 plan is reasonable and compatible uses. A Dollar General is not a compatible use to a daycare, nor is it compatible with the other existing zoning in the area. And as has already been brought up, there's so much retail in this particular area, and there's so much vacant retail in this particular area. Half of the Target Center is vacant currently. So there are lots of small shop spaces where Dollar General could go if they chose to rent 10,000 square feet. Thank you.
Let me ask staff a question. The CBF1 classification, that's a daycare, right?
No, it's a community-based facilities district.
Pardon?
Community-based facilities district. So sometimes you may find a religious institution, a park, or golf course, yes.
I think the question is on this, okay.
I believe it's a church.
It's a church, yeah.
Mitchell believes it's a church.
Yeah.
To the north is a daycare.
Okay.
So the NC4 is a daycare.
Okay, thank you. All right, anyone else wish to speak that's against? Come to the microphone.
I don't really have anything more to add except that I really would like to see us keep the area residential as it has been since it was first constructed 40 to 50 years ago, and that is a daycare center. It's not done well over the years. It keeps changing hands, but it is a daycare center and always has been. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak in rebuttal? Kirk?
Ladies and gentlemen, not only is that a daycare center, but the corner next to it is also a major bus stop for the kids in the morning and in the evening to go to and from school. And so if you put a Dollar General or something similar to that there, who's going to have the right of way, the kids or the automobiles? Because the bus is going to stop, back up the traffic. You also got a new subdivision going in there, which is going to very easily maybe double the traffic coming out of Bel Air and going down Airport Road as it is. So if somebody wants to go and get something for a breakfast on the way to work, there's a Circle K right down there at the end of the Airport Road. If they want to go and get some food, there's an IHOP. There's also a, what do they call it, a Sonic. And so it's not like they're going to be rushing into a dollar store early in the morning to get a coffee and a pastry. And all the dollar stores that I've been to, or everything $1.25 stores or whatever, eventually it's a mess. And we don't need that. We need to keep residential. We need, and in fact, I remember when I was on another section of this government, I was asked prior to me losing my seat, can we put a Dollar General there? And I said no. So now that I'm not in there anymore, I still say no.
Okay.
So I would like it to stay what it is, and if they try to put something else in there, we'll fight that battle. But right now, the battle is keep it what it is. And why do we want to put something 60 feet away from a daycare? You think kids are going to notice that? No. So please consider that. Think about if you live there. And I live right across the street off Airport Road across from these neighbors. So, and you hear motorcycles and police cars, ambulances and fire trucks are always going up and down that road because that's one of the major hubs for the fire stations.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we've heard both sides, for and against and rebuttal. So I'm going to close it to the public and bring it back to the commission.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize. Just to clarify, it's not a church. It is an apartment complex. It was mentioned in the staff report. I believe I misspoke. I apologize.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, Commissioner Seeger.
Move to deny.
Motion by Commissioner Seeger to deny. Commissioner Crawford.
I second the motion.
Second by Commissioner Crawford. Any further discussion? Please vote.
The motion to deny carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, keep in mind now, keep in mind the gentleman has the right to appeal that to the council.
I'll be there.
All right.